It's easy to look at Gotham Garage and think it grew out of pure creativity and passion. The team, the shop, and the builds all come across as part of a world where imagination meets machinery. But what most viewers don't realize is that the entire story almost ended before it ever began. One legal battle, involving one of the most recognizable vehicles in pop culture, came close to stopping Mark Towle's career in its tracks. And the effects of that moment still shape how people view him today. Before television cameras ever showed up, Mark Towle wasn't a reality star. He was a builder and fabricator who worked behind the scenes. He grew up fascinated by the cars and props he saw on screen and spent much of his early life recreating them for TV sets, theme displays, and private collectors. These weren't ordinary restorations or practical builds. Towle specialized in cars that told stories, dramatic shapes, exaggerated silhouettes, and eye-catching details. His workshop became known among certain collectors for producing impressive recreations of vehicles from movies and comics. And that focus on replicas is what led him straight into the center of a legal storm. In the early 2010s, Towle had crafted two versions of one of the most iconic vehicles of all time, the Batmobile. One was based on the famous 1966 Batman TV series, and the other on Tim Burton's 1989 film adaptation. Each model was built to impress. Long fins, sharp lines, a silhouette that anyone could recognize instantly, and each was expensive. They were sold to collectors for tens of thousands of dollars. The problem was not the craftsmanship, but the intellectual property. The Batmobile wasn't just a car. It was a character owned by DC Comics. DC sued. Towle argued that his versions were functional cars, not copyrighted characters. But in 2015, the Ninth Circuit Court disagreed. The ruling stated clearly that the Batmobile was a protected character with distinctive traits, even beyond specific films. Towle was ordered to stop producing those replicas and to pay associated legal costs. For many small builders, this would have meant a complete collapse, a loss of product, revenue, and reputation. Yet the result was something no one expected. Instead of ending his career, the lawsuit placed Mark Towle and Gotham Garage into conversations they had never been part of before. His work had been noticed not just by collectors, but by major media companies and eventually producers looking for something different to bring to television. And when Netflix began searching for a custom car series with a unique personality and visual flair, Gotham Garage stood out. When Car Masters Rust to Riches premiered, the shop was introduced to a global audience. Suddenly, Towle's creativity was front and center, but with popularity came questions. And the more people watched, the more viewers started noticing things that didn't quite add up. One of the first debates centered around the show's authenticity. Fans questioned how a shop could repeatedly take low-value vehicles and turn them into high-return investments. The negotiation scenes, the sudden appearance of buyers, and the dramatic reveals began to feel, to some viewers, more coordinated than spontaneous. The concept car and matching motorcycle, which the show suggested could reach a $250,000 valuation, never publicly sold. A supposedly high-value Ferrari deal raised similar doubts. For car enthusiasts familiar with the real pricing of customs, these numbers didn't always line up with typical market behavior. Mark Towle never directly addressed whether the show involves scripting or staged scenarios. Some believe he simply can't due to contractual limits. Others think the silence is strategic, that ambiguity fuels discussion, and discussion keeps a show alive. But the questions didn't stop at the business side. They extended into the workshop itself. Internal team dynamics on Rust to Riches became a major talking point among viewers. The sudden absence of Constance Nunes and the discovery that Sean Pilot had an acting background led some fans to wonder whether certain cast members were chosen more for television presence than for garage experience. Even when the disagreements and creative clashes were real, the way they unfolded on camera made some people wonder how much was natural and how much was encouraged for entertainment. And then there are the builds themselves, visually striking, bold, and instantly recognizable. But many critics argue that the focus is often on aesthetic impact rather than mechanical performance. The Lincoln Futura-inspired concept build is a good example. It looked dramatic, but some enthusiasts questioned what it offered beyond its appearance. The rat rod-style Beetle, with its chopped proportions and flame-spitting tailpipes, was undeniably memorable. But drivability, comfort, and safety were debated heavily. Supporters counter this by saying that Towle isn't trying to build engineering marvels. He's building artwork. He's creating pieces meant to inspire imagination. And in that interpretation, the visual impression is the primary goal, not mechanical refinement. The question then becomes whether Gotham Garage should be judged by artistic creativity or by automotive engineering standards. And depending on how a viewer approaches cars, their answer may fall on either side. All of these discussions lead naturally to one final mystery: Mark Towle's actual net worth. Various outlets have estimated numbers ranging from a few $100,000s to several million. But because sale prices for Gotham Garage's most famous builds are rarely verified, and because Netflix salaries are private, the real number remains unknown. Towle has never publicly confirmed or denied any estimates, and that silence has done something interesting. It has allowed the discussion to continue indefinitely. For some people, Mark Towle is a visionary who turned imagination into a livelihood. For others, he is a showman whose creations are more spectacle than substance. The truth likely lies somewhere in the middle. What we know for certain is that his career almost ended the moment DC Comics brought their case forward. Instead, that moment became the turning point that led to international recognition, television success, and ongoing debate about what Gotham Garage really represents. In the end, the controversy didn't destroy him, it defined him. And it leaves one lasting question: is Mark Towle building cars or building a story? And depending on who's watching, the answer will always be different.